Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel, doing another big front engine job on a Hilux, replacing the one-piece water pump, converting it over to a two-piece. Just wanted to give a quick tip and bit of information, make it easy for yourself and everyone. Leave the original OEM clamps, don't change it over to these hose clamps. Don't think that it needs more pressure than what the original automatic tensioning clamps do. Don't destroy them, then you don't need to replace them. Putting clamps like this just makes it a bit harder and it allows you to over tighten them, and it could possibly cut into the rubber. And when you put them on, can you just please put it facing the right direction? I mean, look at the direction that's facing. How are you meant to get a screw when that's down under the plastic, right? Down under here. How are you meant to get a screwdriver on that? Who put this back together, you fool? At least put it facing around this way so you can put a screwdriver from this side and turn it. So of course, yeah, we got to it. We can make it happen, but you've made it hard for yourself. You've made it hard for us. And who put this clamp there in the first place anyway? Nothing wrong with the original one. Anyway, that was the quickest video I've ever put on YouTube. Maybe? No, that's probably wrong, but quickest video, shortest video in the last 6 months. But if I keep talking, it won't be the quickest. So I'm out of here. If you haven't already, for other awesome tips and information, subscribe, turn the bell on, and bada bing, bada boom. Catch up. This could be the quick tips and information stuff ups video on this vehicle. So we'll just put a whole heap of little stuff ups we've seen, mistakes people have made. So that way it makes it really good, awesome information, things to avoid. Now, what's happened here by the looks of it, the last monkey has over tightened it. Because look, when you turn it, the whole thing, right, it's just slipping. What do we do there? Oh, what a mess. So what we're going to do, obviously the whole cover's going to come off. This part here will go in the vise, in the quality old Dawn vise, and we'll just get this undone. Then what we'll do, we'll glue that piece back into the back of the timing cover. So that's how we're going to fix that, into that backing plate there. And while we're at it, we will join more on, but look at this. See this sweat around the injector? Do you know what that is? That's not someone that hasn't replaced the seals. That's someone that hasn't done a clean job. As I've said in other videos, you got to be careful who you let work on your vehicle. If it's not 100% clean, and I don't mean 99.9 with this one, 100% clean under those seals, this is what you'll get. It only takes a little bit of dirt, a speck of sand to hold that rubber up and just allow that all to sweat out. Now, it's very minor. It's just untidy, unnecessary. It's certainly not worth pulling it apart. If you get a problem like this, you don't want to pull it apart and risk contamination to the fuel system. You got to take the pipes off, whatever. Somebody did injectors on this and reused the fuel pipes. That's 2 cars in a row, one today, one yesterday, with injectors replaced elsewhere, reusing the fuel pipes. They've both got a nasty rattle. So there you go. This is another one that's really annoying as well, okay? So here we've got a battery terminal, the negative, and that's, you always connect and disconnect the negative first and last, if you know what I mean. That's the one you disconnect and that's one you reconnect last, okay? In an emergency, this needs to be able to remove quickly, right? Okay, say in the event of a vehicle collision, an accident, a crash, kabang, right, they may need to disconnect the battery quickly. So it needs to be accessible and easy enough to do. We've been here mucking around with this for about 5 minutes so far and can't get it off because the wiring that's been placed and this relay too close in the way, just literally, I'm not going to try and show you with a video, but I don't know, it's probably been over tightened as well, but at the moment that won't come up, and this situation here with the wires over the top isn't helping things. So please, this isn't one of those electrical catastrophes we've seen on some other vehicles, but it's not good, It should be pretty easy to disconnect the battery. 10 mil loosen off. You should be able to disconnect it within about 10 seconds of approaching the car with a 10 mil spanner. So something else to keep an eye on, guys. Okay, so this was going to be a short video, wasn't it, right? And it was a short video, but you can see we've put a few different segments together because it's all stuff that matters. For people that are taking their cars out to workshops to be butchered, or people that are working on their own vehicles without watching enough videos and information first. Okay, this is not a big deal, but there's a reason why Toyota do things the way they do. The engineering is good. So I'm going to point out a couple of problems here. A, this vacuum line here has been replaced and it's got a big U-shaped kink in it. It's probably all right, but I just like the original one. It just sits nice. Small part of the problem. Next level, see this here, this vacuum line is meant to be on the other side, okay? So we'll fix that up. Well, I might. It's just a matter of, taking that off and just needs to be on the other side. There's a reason why. The cover may be hitting here, I'm not sure. But look, it just sits neatly when it's run down in behind there. So beware if you've got this black wire, if you've got the, well, all the 1KDs pretty much have got that. So get this over the other side there. Bada bing. And just make sure all your vacuum line here isn't kinked, especially if it's been replaced. And we like the original vacuum line, the quality of those, so there's no reason to replace it. Like those clamps, no reason to. Okay, so the reason I disconnect the battery is because we're about to disconnect and remove the alternator to do this, replace this big one-piece water pump. As soon as the camera in here, we notice, look at that, the tab off the plug's not even there, it's been broken. So obviously it's been worked on before by butchers, right? The tab's not there. The good news is normally these plugs stay in pretty well because they get mud and dust and stay there pretty tight, and that's about what's holding it at the moment. The good news for us is we don't have to press the tab to release it, we just wiggle the plug, right? But I just want to point out again, careful who you take your vehicle to for it to be butchered, and if you end up with an alternator light on, you might want to just check your plug and make sure it's plugged in if anyone's ever worked on your vehicle, because if they've broken the tab, of which I have never broken one of these tabs off. I've never broken, let me think, never say never. Was there one plug somewhere that as soon as I pressed it, it snapped? I don't know. There might have been one, but I'll say close enough to never broken one of these tabs, never on an alternator. I'm talking on every car that I work on, I'm probably undoing 10 to 20 plugs, and almost never. There might have been one that went click and, oh, I don't know if it broke, but it might have been, I can't remember which plug it was. But anyway, it rings a bell that there was one plug somewhere up around the top of the engine intercooler somewhere. Again, probably someone just pushing weight. You just got to push it just enough till it clears that clip. Anyway, we'll stop whinging now. 1.5 minutes of whinging on the alternator plug broken. Just showing you all the things that can be avoided by being careful where you take your vehicle, or doing it yourself if you're capable and you can take the time and care that's required. While we're whinging and complaining, this is going to be called whinging and complaining, I think. But anyway, this battery, right? Have a look at it. Pretty cool, dude. It's a massive, big, heavy. It's 400 millimeters long. It's not even on a battery tray. It's just, it's overhanging at least 100 mil off the side of the support there. Pretty cool. Which brings it in over here in the way of accessing other things. Look, I don't know why you'd have that battery, to be honest. Maybe when you watch this video, you can tell me. Shoot me a text. I'm just looking at it. Well, 110 amp hour, that's cool. So it's a deep cycle kind of Volkswagen, mate, you know. So you must know someone that Volkswagen that gets rid of warranty batteries. Yeah, this is a similar situation perhaps to, yeah, we know someone that there's a lot of these Vata batteries that get replaced in Mercedes, and actually sometimes they're quite good when they replace them for whatever reason. I can't remember the full details, but we can get a whole heap of these for free that have been replaced under warranty. So might be a situation like that. Just too big, way too big and heavy. And it's a starting cranking battery. You don't need a deep cycle battery here. But anyway, happy days. Just pointing out, not ideal with 100+ millimeter overhang, big, massive, heavy, and it goes right in. It's tucked right into that corner there. Anyway, enough whinging on the battery size. Oh, and the bit of wood holding it. You know, that's all right. You know, it's all good. Don't worry too much about the timing marks. What I want to point out here is someone's, I don't know what they've put on the thread here, but this bolt is still tight. You can see it's loose because the washer's loose, right? It's that tight though. I don't know if they put Loctite or does something else wrong to cause problems for us, but what I'm trying to point out is you can see it's loose, but look, it's still, it's putting the timing marks off, right? See how it's moving, right? So anyway, we'll sort through it, no big deal, but don't put Loctite on this bolt. There's no need to. And if you do, just put the really light one that, you know, once you crack it loose, you can turn it, because this is a bit of a mess, right? You can see the whole thing. You can see, I'm just trying to demonstrate how tight that bolt is in the thread still. See the washer's loose, right? No Loctite on here. Just do it up to the specified 98 Newton meters. All right, catch up on the next section. I've been working on this, right? You can see the washer, how far out, right? How far the bolt, and there's no way that is turning by hand, you know? It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous, right? So we've got the belt out the way now. You can just turn it with a ratchet. Right, okay. It's starting to get a little bit looser now, right? yeah, this is the whinge and complain video, right? Hopefully you learn something, some things to do, not to do, or some people not to go to. Just want to show you what is on this thread, because I don't know. This is discovery. What are we going to have here, right? Hopefully they've put something on it and it's not an actual problem with the bolt or the... Oh man, look at all that. Yeah, looks like they put Loctite. Yeah, red Loctite at that, right? Fun and games, see? Use the blue, right? Use the blue. I can't remember the numbers. I think it's 643 or something like that. But look, talk to the Loctite bloody specialist, or just don't use any. We don't. Toyota don't. It just comes off clean, mate. 98 Newton meters, right? So, bada bing. Next section of the video. Okay, so I just thought I'd show you what we've done with this timing belt backing plate. There's like little studs in there, and the bolts that come out, they've got a little spacer, if you like, so you don't over tighten them. They just need to be nipped up nicely. Once they make contact, just the tiniest little nip so they don't come undone. You over tighten them, you're just spinning this stud piece in there. You're just going to spin it, right? And you know what, you must be going crazy to spin those, because I've never been able to spin one, and I'll probably, you know, go a little bit lighter. But the product we use is Permatex steel weld. I'm not saying it's any good or not, but it's just a bit like Araldite, 2-part epoxy, but it's got a bit of flexibility in it. That's what we've used here anyway, and it's just sitting here under the heater to dry a little bit before we refit it. Okay, so there it is. You can see the it's all glued up. Happy days, right? And this is how the bolt should be, right? Nice and easy, you know. Things don't need to be hard and complicate jobs. Lucky you brought it to us this time, not whoever it went to last time, you know. Like that, right? And as we've said in other videos, see, it went all the way. We're not going to put a spanner or anything on that and tighten it up till we've got the timing belt on, because we don't want to risk turning it, messing up the timing marks, and pushing the valves against the piston. So timing belt goes on next. This isn't a how-to job. This is a whinging and complaining video. What can I complain about? The person that did the over-tightened that last time. But we fixed it, so happy days. Hey guys, and last but not least, I just wanted to mention we did file down that little bit of extra gluing, that product that I used. It was a little bit, a millimetre or two proud, so we did file that down flat so the cover would sit down nicely, and it does. The last thing I wanted to mention was, you know, we have some recommended repairers or 4x4 Diesel workshop partners. There's been a couple of places around that things change, okay? So whether it's, you know, for whatever reason, the latest one is one of the main people that ran the workshop. The whole reason why we are sending you there, he was removed from the business for whatever reason, you know, the COVID-19, where they let everyone go, and they might have tried to get him back or not. That doesn't really matter, but he's the guy that we're recommending. And I just want to be really clear that we used to recommend the Auto Experts in Brisbane. I believe the business has changed ownership recently and also changed names, so we no longer recommend. We're not bagging them or you know, anything like that, but what I'm trying to say, we used to recommend them because Chris was running the show. Chris at the moment is running his own show, so make sure you contact me. These details will be available in the VIP group, so if you've purchased parts or whatever, refer to the VIP group for further information. If you need to contact Chris B directly for any work on your Prados or Hilux, quality work, reliable communication, so he will be able to explain to you exactly what needs to be done and what's been done, and what, you know, all this sort of thing, you know, all aspects of the vehicle, and get the work done right. So I just thought I'd tack that on the end of the video, because it's really part of avoiding these sorts of problems. You really need to be careful where you go to, and so whether you're doing it yourself, taking the care to make sure it's right, and fixing up things as you go if it's been butchered by someone else. And we just don't want people going to places that we can't really rely on, because the people working there have changed and the management's changed. So I'll say it again, we no longer recommend the auto experts, and it's not called the auto experts anymore, but the people that are listening that know. I'm going to be doing posts on all our Facebook groups and pages, because yeah, this is a fairly major change, and we don't want people going to places to see the people that were there before doing things the way they were before, because they're not there anymore. Different people, different names, whatever. So things have changed. VIP group for Chris's details, guys. All right, take it easy. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Plenty of information there for you, things to avoid, plenty of entertainment. If you haven't already subscribed, turn that bell on. Ding, 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 ding. Yep, turn that bell on. And in the comments, I might not be able to answer them all, but I'll be reading for ideas and what you need to know about for the next video, guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.